Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama-shloke Bhaktir-bhavati Naistiki Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Śrī Gurave Namaha Śrī Chaitanya-manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Svapadantikam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna-prishthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 12, Dhruva Mahārāja goes back to Godhead. So we are in the section where there is Falashruti, text 48. Prayatah kirtayet pratah samavayet dvijanmanam sayam cha punya shlokasya dhruvasya charitam mahat. Translation.
The great sage Maitreya recommended one should chant of the character and activities of Dhruva Maharaj both in the morning and in the evening with great attention and care in a society of Brahmanas or other twice born persons. Purport. It is said that only in the association of devotees can one understand the importance of the character and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his devotees. In this verse, it is especially recommended that Dhruva Maharaj's character be discussed in a society of the twice born, which refers to the qualified Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas. One should especially seek the society of Brahmanas who are elevated to the position of Vaiṣṇavas. Thus, discussion of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, which describes the character and pastimes of devotees and the Lord, is very quickly effective. The International Society for Kṛṣṇa Consciousness has been organized for this purpose. In every center of the society, not only in the morning, evening, or noon, but practically 24 hours a day, there is continuous devotional service going on. Anyone who comes in contact with the society automatically becomes a devotee. We have actual experience that many karmis and others come to the society and find a very pleasing and peaceful atmosphere in the temples of ISKCON. In this verse, the word Dvijanmanam means of the twice born. Anyone can join the International Society for Kṛṣṇa Consciousness and be initiated to become twice born. As recommended by Sanatana Goswami, by the process of initiation and authorized training, any man can become twice born. The first birth is made possible by the parents, and the second birth is made possible by the spiritual father and Vedic knowledge. Unless one is twice born, one cannot understand the transcendental characteristics of the Lord and his devotees. Study of the Vedas is therefore forbidden for Shudras. Simply by academic qualifications, a Shudra cannot understand the transcendental science. At the present moment, throughout the entire world, the educational system is geared to produce Shudras. A big technologist is no more than a big Shudra. Kalau Shudra Sambhava. In the age of Kali, everyone is a Shudra because the whole population of the world consists of only Shudras. There is a decline of spiritual knowledge and people are unhappy. The Krishna consciousness movement has been started especially to create qualified Brahmanas to broadcast spiritual knowledge all over the world. For thus, people may become very happy. Hare Krishna.
So Dhruva Charitam prayatah kirtayet pratah. So this charitra, the great sage Maitreya recommended. One should chant the character and activities of Dhruva both morning and evening, and especially in the association of Dvijanmanam, or those who are twice born. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains the activities of Dhruva should be discussed only in the association of the devotees. And this is the special recommendation. And especially in the association of the devotees who are elevated to the position of Vaiṣṇava. So at birth, everybody is Shudra. Janmana jayate Shudra. Samskarat bhave dvijah. Again, needless to say, whenever there is a discussion on Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, it is always based on the Bhagavad Gita paradigm, that is Guna Karma Vibhagashah. That these positions are attained by one's guna and karma and not just by birth, right? Because later Srila Prabhupada is going to say a big technologist is no more than a big Shudra. Okay. So, and for this is the purpose. What is the purpose? To create qualified Brahmanas or to create Vaishnavas is the purpose of ISKCON. And Prabhupada says that every center in ISKCON, morning, evening, noon, 24 hours a day, there is a continuous devotional service which is going on. Right from 4 o'clock in the morning, where the deities are woken up to 10 o'clock in the night, there is continuous service going on in the ISKCON, ISKCON temple. Anyone who comes to the temple, they have the great experience of finding very pleasing and the peaceful atmosphere. Why? Because the Lord is continuously worshipped. As the deity, Lord is continuously worshipped in the form of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, study of Bhagavad Gita, spreading of the knowledge, and therefore temple is called as Shakti Pitha. Shakti Pitha means there is immense energy, at this temple, at the place. And therefore one will naturally have this experience that when we go to temple, we will feel a kind of satisfaction, a kind of calmness, a kind of shanti, peacefulness, which is otherwise not very easily available, right? Another thing is dvijanmana. Now dvijanmana means to make people qualified into qualified brahmanas. So ISKCON is the only society, a very rare society, where irrespective of one's caste, creed, or even religion, one will receive the Brahmin initiation in ISKCON. In fact, one of the very early encounters in ISKCON, and I was visiting Germany, and I was really shocked when I visited Germany because there the temple president was born in one religion, and he was practicing Kṛṣṇa consciousness in country of another religion, and Kṛṣṇa consciousness itself is a third religion, right? So ISKCON does not discriminate between one is Hindu or a Muslim. Even if one is born in a Muslim family, can become a great devotee and can become a guru in ISKCON and a GBC in ISKCON. And there are GBCs in ISKCON, right? What to speak of guru and GBC in ISKCON? Our own Namacharya Haridas Thakur was born in a Yavana family. So, on the level of, this is the purpose of International Society of Kṛṣṇa Consciousness, to create Dvijaha, the twice born. What is twice born? The first birth is by the parents. The second birth is by the spiritual master. And therefore, just like at the birth, one receives the name, similarly at the spiritual birth also, one receives another name. Right? And we will have the name ceremony at the time of one's initiation. And then there is Brahman initiation, so on and so forth. And one will be rightfully trained to worship the deities in the temple. And then one can be engaged in activities of the deity worship. Simply, Prabhupada says, unless one is twice born, one cannot really understand the transcendental characteristics of the Lord and his devotees. And therefore, there is no point discussing the deeper aspects of philosophy with people in general, because they will end up simply finding faults. Right? For the people in general, for the masses, there has to be the chanting of the holy names, which is the essence of philosophy, anyways. Right? Simply by academic qualification, a Shudra cannot understand the transcendental science. Somebody may be very highly learned, one may be PhD in philosophy, but that doesn't mean that he will understand Dhruva Charitra. There are many Indologists, or there are many distinguished chair of professor of particular university. With the cigar in the hand, they will be discussing the importance of three gunas in Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so academic qualification will not go ahead in this matter. For here, one has to be initiated by a bona fide spiritual master. And Prabhupada said that's why people in general, they are unhappy without understanding this position. And Kali Yuga is full of this kind of a population. Kalau Shudra Sambhavaha. Therefore, one has to take advantage of ISKCON, and one has to elevate one consciousness and come to the position of Vaiṣṇava. Text 49 and 50. पौर्णिमास्यां शनिवाल्यां द्वादश्यां श्रवणे तव दिनक्षये व्यतिपाते संक्रमे अर्कदिनेऽपि वा श्रावये श्रद्धदानानां तीर्थपादपदाश्रयः न इच्छन् तत्रमात्मना आत्मानं सन्तुष्टम् इति सिद्ध्यति. Translation.
Persons who have completely taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord should recite this narration of Dhruva Mahārāja without taking remuneration. Specifically, recitation is recommended on the full moon or dark moon day, on the day after Ekadashi, on the appearance of the Shravana star, at the end of a particular tithi, or the occasion of Vyatipat at the end of the month or on Sunday. Such recitation should of course be performed before a favorable audience. When recitation is performed this way without professional motive, the reciter and audience become perfect. Purport. Professional reciters may ask money to extinguish the blazing fire within their bellies, but they cannot make any spiritual improvement or become perfect. It is therefore strictly forbidden to recite Śrīmad Bhāgavatam as a profession to earn a livelihood. Only one who is completely surrendered at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, depending fully on Him for personal maintenance or even for maintenance of his family, can attain perfection by recitation of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, which is full of narrations of the pastimes of the Lord and His devotees. The process can be summarized as follows. The audience must be faithfully receptive to the Bhagavad message, and the reciter should completely depend on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhagavad recitation must not be a business. If done in the right way, not only does the reciter achieve perfect satisfaction, but the Lord also is very satisfied with the reciter and the audience, and thus both are liberated from material bondage simply by the process of hearing.
So, persons who have completely taken shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord should recite this narration without taking any remuneration. And this can be recited on Paurnima, Amavasya, Ekadashi, Shravana Nakshatra, at the end of a particular tithi, that means daily, Vyatipat, end of the month, Arkadine. Arkadine is Ravivar or Sunday, in front of the favorable audience. Without professional motive, one should recite and the reciter and the audience both will become perfect. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada describes professional reciters may ask for money to extinguish the blazing fire within their bellies. So there are two things about this. That whenever the Bhagavad Saptahas are going on, there are certain money is charged, and not all is wrong. Okay, why? Because there are many Bhagavad Kathakars who have their own ashramas to be maintained, and typically Bhagavad Kathas, when it goes on, they will be having their Vadya Vrinda, they will be having their musicians, they will be having their singers, they will be having their many of the ashrams also have the goshalas, and all this entire system is to be supported by some, at end of the day you need money. And then there is, so I remember speaking on this topic 20 years back and speaking now, that there are people who are very, very genuine, not necessarily always within ISKCON, outside ISKCON also. And they may be doing professional Bhagavad Katha, which professional in the sense which charging some money, but there are some other they have their own due expenses to be taken care. That is one thing. Second thing is the Bhagavad Kathakar also has to live the life what he is speaking about. Recently, there was a huge controversy. I will not go in the names and everything. Where a very famous Bhagavad Kathakar, he booked his marriage and he booked a hotel which was like, per night was like 7 lakh rupees rent per night per room. That kind of a 5-star lavish marriage. And in the katha, he was apparently discussing about importance of simple living, high thinking, and and everything else. And there was a debate, and debate should be there. And he was saying that that's my personal life, and this is my professional life. So my message is not me. So this is one of the example of professional reciters. The audience should be favorable to recite in front of we are reciting Śrīmad Bhagavatam, and this is very important, right? And then further, Srila Prabhupada mentions here that the reciter should completely depend on the Supreme and it should not treat Bhagavatam recitation as a business. And therefore, you will see in ISKCON, all the Bhagavatam Katha, they are all free of cost. Any day, every day one can come to ISKCON temple, not only free of cost, the Prasadam is also given. As a free of cost, Prasadam is also given. At times, certain programs in ISKCON, we make it chargeable basis only to recover the expenses out of it. Like, giving 8 days of prasadam, giving certain books, giving certain material. So a break-even kind of a thing. And people also take it slightly more positively when things are charged. When things are free, then there is another issue. Okay. If done in the right way, the reciter achieves the perfect satisfaction. And the Lord also is very satisfied with the reciter and the audience. And thus, both are liberated from the bondage simply by this process of hearing. Right. So, this should not be done professionally, and this should be done as a service to the Supreme Lord. Text 51. Jnanamaggyāta-tatvāya yodhayyāt satpathemritam कृपालो दीननाथस्य देवा अनु devas deva tasyanugrihate. Translation.
The narration of Dhruva Maharaj is sublime knowledge for the attainment of immortality. Persons unaware of the absolute truth can be led to the path of truth. Those who, out of transcendental kindness, take on the responsibility of becoming master protectors of the poor living entities automatically gain the interest and blessings of the demigods. Purport. Jnanam Agyata means knowledge which is unknown at almost throughout almost throughout the entire world. No one knows actually what is the absolute truth. Materialists are very proud of their advancement in education, in philosophical speculation, and in scientific knowledge, but no one actually knows what the absolute truth is. The great sage Maitreya therefore recommends that to enlighten people about the absolute truth, tattva, devotees should preach the teachings of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam throughout the entire world. Srila Vyasadeva especially compiled this great literature of scientific knowledge because people are completely unaware of the absolute truth. In the beginning of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, first canto, it is said that Vyasadeva, the learned sages, compiled this great Bhagavata Purana just to stop the ignorance of the mass of people, because people do not know the absolute truth. The Śrīmad Bhāgavatam was specially compiled by Vyasadeva under the instruction of Narada. Generally, even though people are interested in understanding the truth, they take to speculation and reach at most the conception of impersonal Brahman. Very few men actually know the personality of Godhead.
Yeah, it's a
Recitation
long purport. I will go in 2 sections. The narration of Dhruva Maharaj is sublime knowledge for attainment of immortality, Amritam. Those who out of transcendental kindness take on the responsibility of becoming master protector of the poor living entities, automatically gain the interest and the blessings of the Devata. Devas tasyanu grihate. That even Devatas become happy with such personalities who extend for people in general. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, Jnanam Agyata. What is this Agyata Jnanam? Agyata Jnanam is the transcendental knowledge. Right? The transcendental knowledge, Prabhupada says, people may be very proud of their knowledge, but people have hardly any knowledge about the Supreme Personality of Godhead and especially the devotional service. No one actually knows absolute truth. Right? It is only because we are connected to Bhagavad Gita, we are connected to Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, we are connected to such a beautiful parampara. All this knowledge so freely flows within us. That we have such connection. Otherwise, it is very difficult to have the clear knowledge. Great sage Maitreya therefore recommends that to enlighten people in general, devotees should preach the message of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam throughout the entire world. And this is the responsibility of a devotee to spread this knowledge. Devotee is naturally a missionary. And of course, one has to spread the knowledge, spread the mission without becoming irritable. This is very important. So one has to find out ways and means. How to find out ways and means? Very simple. If we are going for any birthday, whenever we are supposed to gift something, the gift should be naturally very Krishna conscious gift. It is the spiritual responsibility of a devotee to share Krishna with everyone. And one should think, if I don't give Krishna to somebody, who will give? Right? So giving some, Krishna conscious frames or giving some wonderful books, giving some, when we are going to some kids, we are visiting, you come to our gift stall and you will have wonderful variety of painting books, drawing books, these books, that books. We should be gifting that. So all our gifts should be as Krishna conscious as possible. Right? Nowadays, the condition is such that, people, everybody has everything, and you always wonder, इसको क्या gift देने का? सबके पास सब कुछ है. Best way is to gift Krishna. Give, according to age appropriate Krishna conscious gift. At least this much we should begin with. Srila Vedavyas especially compiled this great literature, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. What was the reason? Because people are completely unaware of the absolute truth. And because of not knowing that, they are suffering. Anartha upasamam sakshat bhakti yoga madhokshaje lokasya ajanato vidvams chakre shashvata samhita. That the material miseries of the living entities, which are very superfluous to him, can be completely eradicated by the process of devotional service. Anartha upasamam sakshat bhakti yoga madhokshaje. Lokasya, people in general, ajanato vidvan. They are unable to know, they do not know this chakre shashvata samhitam, and therefore this great personality Vedavyas, he wrote this Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, and therefore one should have Śrīmad Bhāgavatam in one's house. I have a very direct experience of visiting a place where there was, sudden departure of a very, very young aged, kind of a middle aged personality, and the relatives just surrounding, discussing Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam for 1 hour, and entire atmosphere was positively transformed by the process of discussing Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad Bhagavatam. Entire atmosphere, almost everybody was, a kind of a typical non-devotee, we can say. I mean, they are not very introduced to Krishna consciousness, and very major tragedy in the house. Entire atmosphere was transformed by the process of Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad Bhagavatam. Right? So one should have this great faith that this is lokasya ajanato vidvan chakre shashvata samhita, and therefore this samhita. What is the name of this samhita? Ayurveda, you have Charak Samhita, Shushruta Samhita. Bhagavatam is called as Paramahamsa Samhita. It is for the pure devotees, or for those who are on the verge of becoming pure devotees. And therefore, Bhagavatam is called as Paramahamsa Samhita. Right? In the beginning of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, first canto, it is said that the learned sage compiled this great Bhagavatam Puran just to stop the ignorance of the masses. This is that verse. Lokasya ajanato vidvan chakre shashvata samhitam, under the instruction of Narada Muni. So, even after compiling all the Vedas and Vedanta and everything, Vedvyas himself was dissatisfied. And he was pondering, what is the cause of my despondency? What is the cause of my dissatisfaction? Suddenly Narada Muni arrived, and Narada Muni gave, uh, a small, the pep talk to Vedavyas, saying that, my dear Vedavyas, are you satisfied? Identifying body and the mind as the objects of self-realization. The cause of your dissatisfaction is because you have not exclusively glorified the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And as soon as this was confirmed by Narada Muni, his guru, Vedavyas, the spiritual master of Vedavyas, immediately he composed this Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. And what is the glory of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam? Yasyam Vaishrūyamananam Kṛṣṇe Param Purushe Bhaktirutpadyate Pumsam Shoka Moha Bhayapaha. Shoka, Moha and Bhaya will be uprooted by recitation of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. And people are looking for exactly the same thing, right? But very few people know this, and it is the duty of a devotee to spread this knowledge somehow or other. It is not that always we are going to gift Bhagavad Gita, always we are going to gift Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. But a painting book which has the pastime of Ajamil is as good as gifting Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, because the child is painting, the child will ask, Mama, what is this? And Mama will explain that, beta, these are the Vishnu Dutas, he chanted Narayan, and there is some Krishna Katha going on. Yeah, please continue.
Recitation of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is specially meant to enlighten people about absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although there is no fundamental difference between impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and the Supreme Person, factual immortality cannot be obtained unless and until one attains the stage of associating with the Supreme Person. Devotional service, which leads to the association of the Supreme Lord, is actual immortality. Pure devotees, out of compassion for the fallen souls, are Krupalu, very kind to people in general. They distribute this Bhagavad knowledge all over the world. A kind-hearted devotee is called Dinanath, protector of the poor, ignorant mass of people. Lord Kṛṣṇa is also known as Dinanath or Dinabandhu, the master or actual friend of the poor living entities. And his pure devotee also takes the same position of Dinanath. The Dinanathas or devotees of Lord Kṛṣṇa who preach the path of devotional service become the favorites of the demigods. Generally, people are interested in worshipping the demigods, especially Lord Shiva, in order to obtain material benefits. But a pure devotee who engages in preaching the principles of devotional service as prescribed in the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam does not do separately worship demigods. The demigods are automatically pleased with him and offer all the blessings within their capacity, as by watering the root of a tree, the leaves and the branches are automatically watered. So, by executing pure devotional service to the Lord, the branches, twigs, and leaves of the Lord, known as demigods, are automatically pleased with the devotee, and they offer all benedictions. Hare Krishna.
Next, Srila Prabhupada explains the word Amritam and Devastasyanu Griyate. So, the Supreme Lord can be understood as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, but ultimate realization of the Supreme is through the process of devotional service, which takes one close to the Supreme Lord, and therefore devotional service is called as Amritam, or the actual immortality. Krupalu Dinanathasya, Krupalu. The pure devotee is called as Krupalu because he has the real compassion. One can see the example of specifically Srila Prabhupada, suffering 2 heart attacks, traveling to the America on a cargo ship with 40 Indian rupees in the pocket, and doesn't know where to go and has no plan, absolutely no idea where to go, left or right, suffering 2 heart attacks, and still, pushing on the mission. And later one can see it is not that Prabhupada, his children inherited Prabhupada's mission. No, it was the disciples, whom this ISKCON was handed over to, right? So all this so that, the message of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam can reach to the masses. In fact, somebody asked Swamiji, you are going to America. Prabhupada said, no, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is going to America. I am simply accompanying Śrīmad Bhāgavatam going to America. So this is called as the personalities. They are Krupalu. So, and then they are Dīnavatsalah, Dīnanathasya. Real Dīnanath is Kṛṣṇa. And also the devotee of the Lord who takes compassion on the living entities is also called as Dīnanath. Right. They will preach the message of devotional service, and thus they will become favorite of the demigods, especially Lord Shiva. Later, we are going to see in the Prachetas, Lord Shiva is himself a great Vaiṣṇava. Vaishnāvanam yatha Shambho. And just like any Vaiṣṇava is pleased to see another devotee preaching, Lord Shiva is extremely pleased to see devotees spreading this message of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. And therefore, Prabhupada says, just as when one waters the root of the tree, entire tree is nourished. Similarly, by becoming a devotee of the Supreme Lord and specifically spreading the message, all the demigods are pleased with such a personality, and thus they offer all benedictions upon him. Text 52. This is the concluding. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank
Prabhupada.
you,
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you,
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.